This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Monday where I went on with producer Dave overnight, and I was told by one of his mods that they didn't watch my show because I said I played a clip of a horse that farted on a family, kicked a tree, and then ran off, which was true. I did play that clip. It was amazing. I thought that was a selling point for my show. And they were like, and Justin wonders why I don't watch his stream. Like, really? Really? That's not a selling point? I'm over here playing videos of horses farting on families. Avalon, welcome in. Holiday. Carla. Apparently that horse is wild. There's all kinds of like viral videos of it doing crazy shit to people. Animals doing weird shit is awesome. I don't want to spoil your animal video, but it's two lions. Like they're out, like it's a nice evening where it's getting ready to storm. And there's a lightning strike, and it scares the bejesus out of them, and they act like kitties. It's a very cute video to me. I saw this story that had a cute puppy as the thumbnail, and I was like, oh, this could be the animal video for tonight. No, it's a goddamn horrific story. And like, if it was a human, I'd have to play the you guys would want to hear the news story. But because it's a dog, I can't play you the news story. Flash is stuck under his truck. Socks was getting ready to lay down. I threw my shirt on the bed. And Socks was getting ready to lay down on my shirt, but it kind of looked like he was going to take a shit on my shirt. He's now made himself comfortable looking at his foot, but at first, like, I was like, wait, what are you doing over there, Socks? They're upset with me because I ordered groceries at like noon today. But I always do the thing where, like, I picked the 3-hour window later in the day. And I figured they'd be here by now, but they're arriving, like, in a minute. My groceries will be at the door. This is water. I didn't have time to make I'm out of tea bags. So I had to order tea bags. I'm drinking water right now. Yuck. I don't like flavorless liquid. It's weird to me. One of those people, like, even when I'm drinking water, I need like a flavored one. I need like a raspberry or a blueberry or something. Give me some kind of flavor with it. Small gesture from New York, served with mustard. I'm out of tea bags and they're on their way. I maybe had 5 hours, 6 hours or something where I had just finished a glass of tea and had to refill it with water. So there was maybe a period of an hour where there wasn't tea or the ability to make tea in this apartment. You can't pull my Southern card. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? You too insecure to fuck a man in a dress? Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Wall for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news beat doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN. freaking.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quit panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discords, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Good.
Right-wingers are morons.
Light one it and hit one back. One more clip before we hit the set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for Justin Freakin.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
We live in turbulent times. The media is full of deception, conspiracy theories, and fake news. Now, more than ever, it is important to ensure you're getting information from a source that's freaking reliable.
I'm Justin Mullins, and this is the Freakin' News.
Get a breaking or interesting story with a humorous twist in about a minute weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, and more.
So I have not kept up with doing the freaking news lately. And the reason why is because it's clearly something that would do well on TikTok and shit. So I've had to retool it. And now they're way harder to make. They're not just easy content that I can crank out in about an hour. They actually take me time. That's the thing about doing this kind of content. It all takes so much time. I was at a coffee creamer as well, so groceries came. I made some coffee creamer. I made coffee. I put coffee creamer in my coffee. The cats are over there eating their food. That's them right there. ICE agents, free hot dog. Please show ID. You heard the lady. Light one up, tip one back. Sorry to come on and then hit you with the song. My groceries got delivered at 8:01 p.m. When I play this song, I'm usually going to piss. Do you have a preference to which cat you want socialist on? They're all over here. Let me get Maynard, because he waits for the other two to eat. They're kind of mean to him. So Maynard's probably over there in the corner, watching them. I was correct. Also, my pants were falling down. Oh, don't you dare say Maynard gets bullied. Maynard is the bully. Just for some reason, like, Socks lets Maynard bully him all the time, except when it comes to food. Socks don't fuck with his food now. So Maynard gets put in his place when it's feeding time. Because Maynard bullies the shit out of, it's like Socks is scared of him. But when it's food time, Socks is the dominant. And, Maynard is scared of him. It's to see the dynamics just completely switch. Maynard and Socks are both, Socks used to be really fat, and he's gotten old now. He's slimming back down as he's getting towards the backside of it, getting towards the backside. He's a very elderly cat. That hurts me. I've had to come to grips with that. He's getting really old. But he's lost a lot of weight. So Maynard's the biggest cat now, but Maynard always was the runt and would still bully everybody. But Maynard's just the one that, Smokey's always been slender. He's never had any point in his life where he's plumped up. He's also not that concerned with food. He's not like the other cats. He's just happy-go-lucky. The other cats are like, give me food now! My bowl is empty. Oh, don't forget it is Live Music Monday. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds directly after the stream tonight. Get ready for a lot of lib. There's a lot of lib on the docket tonight, but Trump trying desperately to distract from the Epstein controversy. So what better way to do it than we covered last night, attacking Barack Obama. Tonight, it's Hillary Clinton. Pam Bondi grants Hillary Clinton email probe request amid Epstein furor. Bondi announced on Monday that the Department of Justice has released documents tied to the FBI's investigation into Clinton's use of private email servers during her tenure as Secretary of State. The move comes in response to a longstanding request from Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, who has pushed for greater transparency surrounding the probe. Bondi praised Grassley's efforts, calling his pursuit of accountability unwavering, and reaffirmed the department's commitment to supporting congressional oversight. The release includes materials related to former FBI Director James Comey's handling of the investigation, which critics say did not thoroughly examine key evidence. The timing of the disclosure arrives as Bondi faces mounting scrutiny over her office's handling over the Epstein files, adding further pressure on the DOJ's approach to politically sensitive cases. The Hillary Clinton email controversy, I can't believe we have to rehash this, centers on her use of a private email server for official communications during her tenure as U.S. Secretary of State from 2009 until 2013. Instead of using a government-issued state.gov account, Clinton relied exclusively on a personal email address hosted on a server at her home in Chappaqua, New York, which raised concerns about transparency, security, and compliance with federal record-keeping laws. While Clinton cited convenience as the reason for the setup, critics argued it allowed her to control access to her correspondence and avoid scrutiny. Investigations by the State Department and FBI found that her email system violated internal policies and that classified information had been transmitted through unsecured channels. However, the FBI concluded in 2016 that Clinton had been extremely careless but did not act with criminal intent, and no charges were filed. The controversy became a major flashpoint during the 2016 presidential election and continues to be referenced in debates over government accountability and information security. The Justice Department decision not to release further documents related to Jeffrey Epstein has sparked a backlash across the political spectrum, especially among Trump supporters. Bondi previously promised transparency and claimed the files were sitting on my desk. Pam Bondi, in her statement shared by the Department of Justice on Monday, said today the Department of Justice honored Chairman Grassley's request to release information relating to former FBI Director James Comey's failed investigation into Hillary Clinton's mishandling of highly classified information during her tenure as Secretary of State. I still don't see a claim of whatever was supposedly uncovered by this. I commend Chairman Grassley for his unwavering, years-long commitment to exposing the truth and holding those who seek to conceal it accountable. Seems like an attempt to conceal the truth, if you ask me. Carolyn Levitt spoke with reporters shortly after the release of this information. I don't know that we're going to listen to the whole thing, but we're at least going to give it a shot. See what they have to say.
It's good to see all of you. And yesterday, as you all know, we celebrated 6 months of the Trump administration. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you day in and day out here at the White House. 6 months, the most transparent administration in history, if I may add. And I know the president just wanted me to highlight his accomplishments over the past 6 months. As you all remember, because you all covered it on the campaign trail, the president really promised the American people many things. But at the top of that list was to defeat the Biden inflation crisis and to secure our border and our homeland. And I think you've all seen in 6 months' time, the president has delivered on those two core campaign promises. Inflation is now running at a 2.1% annual rate. You look at our southern border, look at the numbers. Just last month, 0 illegal aliens were released into our country. And then look at what the president has done on the world stage. He has ended wars like India.
Yeah, they're locking them all up. 0 released into the country. People coming over claiming asylum or just getting locked up.
In Pakistan. He continues to work aggressively to end the war in Russia and Ukraine. He completely obliterated Iran's nuclear sites. He has continued to hopefully negotiate a ceasefire between Israel and Gaza to end that conflict and release all of the hostages. We've seen many of the hostages released as a result of this president's efforts. And this president is working around the clock every day to deliver on the promises he made. You also look at some of the cultural issues, to abolish DEI from our federal government and our military, to effectively end men and women's sports, which is a huge common sense policy that the American people support. And then if you look at the president's strong executive orders that have effectively ended the chemical castration of young children in our country. Just today, Washington, D.C. Children's Hospital in this city has announced they are no longer going to be prescribing puberty blockers to minors. This is a huge win for America. And
puberty blockers are not chemical castration, and puberty blockers are prescribed to several cis kids as well that have precarious puberty and other disorders. But oh my God, these people don't know fucking anything.
Our children, there's certainly more work to do, and the president is doing it right now, and he will continue for the next 3.5 years. But certainly we've accomplished so much in just 6 months, and I'm happy to take some questions. Go ahead.
Was the president serious, or was he joking this weekend when he said he might block a Washington Commanders stadium deal if they don't change their name?
The president was serious, and as part
Oh yes, and now he's wanting to blackmail the Washington football team.
Sports is one of the many passions of this president, and he wants to see the name of that team changed.
Why is he getting involved in that?
Changed back.
That
Look,
is part of his purview.
I think you've seen the president gets involved in a lot of things that most presidents have not. He's a non-traditional president. He likes to see results on behalf of the American people, and if you actually poll this issue with sports fans across the country,
I got a poll for you, Caroline.
Support the president's position on this and the name change. Michael, go ahead, and then Mary, you can go.
Thank you, Caroline. What's the White House's reaction to Senator Chuck Grassley today releasing the formerly classified Clinton annex showing that the Comey-led FBI failed to fully investigate Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, also failed to really...
So that is what the claim is, apparently, that they failed to fully investigate Hillary Clinton. I find that laughable. They failed to fully investigate Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Into thumb drives with potential national security risks on them and emails from President Obama.
It comes as no surprise, unfortunately, and I think that's why you've seen the FBI open up investigations into the individual you mentioned and some others as well.
Caroline. The president just ordered the FBI to release the full Epstein files, just to get it all out there.
The president has said if the Department of Justice...
Well, Krill, she can be my GOP mommy. I'm sorry. I have no standards. Princess Kimberly, good evening. She is a mommy now. Just had a child not that long ago. So can be my GOP mommy.
And the FBI want to move forward with releasing any further credible evidence. They should do so. As to why they have or have not or will, you should ask the FBI about that. Go ahead.
We're going to come back to Epstein here in a little bit. The right wing going nuts. I don't even know. I wanted to play the Hillary Clinton stuff because I don't even know which scandal my boy here, one Mr. Matt Walsh, who once referred to me as a formidable voice in the culture.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
He is ready to put people in handcuffs.
The Trump administration is making a claim on the record about a criminal conspiracy at the highest levels in Washington, D.C. to undermine Trump.
See, I don't even know which. Is he talking about Hillary? Is he talking about Obama? Is it all of them? Is it just a whole deep state? What are we even harping on here?
And subvert the will of the voters. And it's far from the first criminal conspiracy that people in the Trump administration or Trump himself have claimed. I believe them. I mean, I believe this conspiracy happened. The evidence is overwhelming. So what then? What will the consequences be? Right now, President Trump is, making a bunch of posts on Truth Social.
This dude has like 7 kids.
Orange jumpsuits. Tulsi Gabbard is doing hits on Fox News and posting these threads on Twitter. They're sounding notes of indignation and outrage. All that is fine. But none of that matters if they fail to actually go and make arrests. Barack Obama himself should be in handcuffs. You cannot allege a treasonous conspiracy and then do nothing about it. Now, if I seem a bit cynical here, the typical pattern by Republicans since forever is to make these kinds of claims.
So we're talking about the Obama from last night, which the bombshell was that Obama knew that Russia hadn't done anything to interfere with voting machines or the vote tally in the 2016 election. And that's what they're literally saying. That's their claim, is Obama committing treason, that he still went forward and talked about the Russian interference in the election, which, by the way, was proven. The hack and dump campaign, the Facebook analytics campaign.
To make them only on social media and Fox News, and to never actually bring it to a court of law so the parties responsible can be held accountable for their crimes.
Held accountable for what? Tell the people what your accusation is.
Death of it. Go arrest these people and bring them to justice.
For what?
Funny memes and outraged sound bites on Fox News are not going to cut it anymore. Go make...
Well, all you've got is funny memes and outraged sound bites because there's not actually any kind of criminal activity that you can go arrest anybody for. Unlike with Trump, who actually had criminal activity that was provable in court. Matt, you stupid fuck. That's why you're not telling your viewers what the actual claim is. What did Obama do? What did Hillary do? Come on, Matt, tell them. But you depend on the stupidity and the intellectual discuriosity of your audience to get away with peddling the nonsense that you peddle, because right-wingers are morons.
An arrest. Put somebody in prison. And if you won't do that, then what does any of this matter? Why should we care about any of this if you won't follow it up by putting people in prison? In fact, I'll say this. The consequences of these allegations from Tulsi must be one of two things. Either top Obama officials are arrested, or Tulsi Gabbard should be fired. Now, I like Tulsi.
Okay, well, if it's not true, then wouldn't Tulsi alleging this conspiracy by Obama be just as treasonous as Obama? And Tulsi should also be arrested, Matt. Have standards, have principles.
Hope she's not fired, but the only valid reason to not make any arrests is if the claims that she made are false. And if the DNI is falsely alleging treasonous conspiracies publicly, then clearly she should be run out of town. But if what she's saying is true, and I believe that it is, as I just outlined for 15 minutes, then failure to make arrests would make top Trump officials complicit in the conspiracy after the fact. There is no legitimate reason to make no arrests if the claims are true. So something must happen here. Someone has to be punished. Or else none of this means anything at all. It's just fodder for cable news and nothing else. Go make an arrest. Put somebody in handcuffs. Put Barack Obama in handcuffs. Not just in a meme, not in some AI-generated funny video. In real life. Now, they did it to Trump with far less justification.
What?
So what are you going to do, Trump administration? What are you actually going to do about this? Maybe something will happen, and I hope it does. But the pattern has always been that Republicans allege high crimes and misdemeanors only to punish precisely no one for them and to hold no one accountable in any way whatsoever.
Because it's always projection. They're always projecting their own fucking high crimes and misdemeanors.
And this has to change. It has to change. Right now.
But they're not going, I mean, Matt, your fever dream about Obama getting arrested is never going to happen because Obama is not a threat to them politically currently. They're going to go after people that are a threat to them, like Trump's own appointee, Anna Paulina Luna, who has a very nice ass and could be my GOP mommy. Anna Paulina Luna working overtime out here, being my GOP mommy, helping Nicki Minaj with her beef with SZA, and then also referring embattled Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for prosecution on Monday after he allegedly lied to Congress about $2.5 billion in renovations for a new headquarters rivaling the Palace of Versailles in its opulence. Powell's, now we're reading from the New York Post, so the whole Palace of Versailles thing is, that's editorial on their part. Powell, 72, denied during a Senate Banking Committee hearing last month that the lavish upgrades, including plans for a VIP dining room and roof terrace gardens, were being made to the Mariner S. Cleese's Federal Reserve Board building on the National Mall, and said the facility really needed a serious renovation since it had never had one. Both those statements are false, according to a criminal referral that Luna passed along to the Department of Justice on Saturday. Her ass is not mid. And her lips, I'm not going to go there. According to the Federal Reserve, hold on, Smokey. According to the Federal Reserve's final submission to the National Capital Planning Commission, nearly all of those assertions are contradicted by the actual project plans. The Federal Reserve Board conducted a comprehensive renovation of the Ecclesias building from 1999 to 2003, which included the replacement of the roof, all major systems, and a full refurbishing of interior and courtyard spaces. The Fed's headquarters was originally constructed between 1935 and 1937. At least 3,000 staffers are currently working in the adjacent William McChesney Martin Jr. building, built in the 1970s and upgraded in 2021. I probably would agree with Luna that the Fed doesn't need any money from us to upgrade their building. Senate Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott shot back. We can all agree that updating aging infrastructure is a legitimate need, but when senior citizens can barely afford Formica countertops What a weird thing to throw out. It sends the wrong message to send public money on luxury upgrades that feel more like they belong in the Palace of Versailles than in public institutions. That's where the quote came from. On April 30th, an April 30th report from the Federal Reserve's Inspector General found that as of February, the renovations were projected to cost at least $2.4 billion and be finished in 2027. Yeah, that seems like a really fucking high price tag. But it's a private institution. Are they paying for it? It's a quasi-public-private joint venture shit where the president gets to appoint the board chair, but that's about it. It's pretty much private in every other way. Trump now calling for Adam Schiff to be jailed. Says he is in big trouble. President Donald Trump has escalated his attacks on Senator Adam Schiff, calling for the Democrat to go to prison for alleged mortgage fraud. In a Truth Social post on Sunday night, the president accused Schiff of falsifying loan documents, saying the senator was in big trouble and should pay a price of prison. Newsweek contacted Schiff for comment via contact form on his website. I figured like you'd have a better contact for Schiff than the contact form on his website. I've seen people say that for Trump to have those documents, it would have been illegal for him to obtain them. Would have been a violation of Schiff's privacy. Trump ramped up his attacks on Schiff last week, alleging in a Truth Social post on July 15th that the Democrat had engaged in a sustained pattern of possible mortgage fraud, which the president said he uncovered by the Financial Crimes Division of the Federal National Mortgage Association, also known as Fannie Mae. The president accused Schiff of improperly declaring a house he owned in Maryland as his primary residence to get a lower mortgage rate. A spokesperson for Schiff told the Los Angeles Times that the senator followed legal advice and was transparent about living between his two homes, one of his home state in California and the other near where he works in D.C. I would say he probably spends the majority of his time in the D.C. home. I don't think having a residence in the state you serve, he's a senator now, not just a congressman. I don't think that is a prerequisite. I think you could just have a address in the state. It doesn't have to be your primary home. The president has faced mounting criticism over his administrations, but it could be a state-to-state thing. I don't know. Over his administration's failure to release records about child sex abuse linked to the late financier, former Trump acquaintance Jeffrey Epstein. It's just all seeing what he can throw at the wall to try to cause a distraction. Honestly, if he really wanted to cause a distraction, maybe he should seek to tap one Mr. Hunter Biden, who gave an interview to Andrew Callahan. Smokey! I can't just sits here and keeps clawing my goddamn leg the whole time. I can't do it, buddy. Just the way he sits, he's not meaning to. He'll just sit there, just dig his claws into my leg. And it's all day. He wants to be here in my lap, and I'm sitting here. He wants to be here. But if Trump really wanted to cause a stir and create a distraction, maybe he should have tapped Hunter Biden for a position in his administration. This dude apparently knows how to go scorched earth on some Democrats.
Opinions. But fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. I don't have to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times on me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40, $50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention...
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper...
My mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
I mean, he's not wrong on a lot of that, but it's just hilarious for him to talk about somebody else dining out on a name. Holy shit. Brother, have some self-awareness. Go scorched earth on all the Democrats. He apparently also made some good points in this clip.
Talk about the one guy, because there's a clear legal path to being able to get him back. What about all those other people? Am I not supposed to feel for someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals? White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. So fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. And so we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes, and he did not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said,
whoa, no. More because he appeased their Trumpian sense. Sir, no. He was racist enough and tough enough for the Trumpy people. He didn't scare them off like the brown lady did. Sorry, my friend, you are totally wrong on that assessment. You don't even understand your father's appeal. Shit.
Smart Rahm Emanuel. And so we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes, and he did not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged.
No, I disagree, because, Joe Biden actually did the thing that Donald Trump said he was going to come in and do, and that was ramp up deportations of people with criminal backgrounds. That's what Joe Biden actually did. Joe Biden deported more people. Now, I don't know what the numbers were in like the first 3 months when we got to like the 100-day mark. Joe Biden had deported more people than Donald Trump had deported. Like Joe Biden in an average month deported more people than Trump had deported in those 3 months. They have been on a ramp up since then. They have now had a bill passed that gives them way more money. So I wouldn't doubt that Trump is going to eviscerate Joe Biden's numbers. But for the first part of the administration, Joe Biden actually did what Trump said he was going to do.
Challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. Then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing. We sit here and we talk about the one guy.
You should let Hunter be on podcasts. My God, he actually would have done well. Maybe Joe Biden should have stayed in the race and Hunter Biden should have been the face. They just sent Hunter Biden around to be on Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan and delusional little prick. Trump taking on Harvard in federal court, trying to bully them.
The Trump administration and Harvard University going head-to-head in federal court today over billions of dollars in funding cuts. Lawyers for Harvard argue the cuts are illegal. Attorneys for the government say it's warranted. ABC's Rita Roy has the latest.
The battle between Harvard University and the Trump administration is heating up. The Ivy League school taking the government to federal court, arguing it was an illegal and unconstitutional move when the White House cut $2.6 billion in federal research funding to the university back in April, saying the university hasn't done enough to address anti-Semitism.
Harvard is actually fighting. So thank you, Harvard. Other universities like Columbia have rolled over for Trump. They replaced their president. Harvard is fighting back against him. And of all the institutions, they have the weight and muscle to be able to do it.
On campus. Harvard officials say that's not true. Today in court, lawyers for the government asking the judge to dismiss the case, saying Harvard should have read the fine print, arguing the language in grant contracts allows termination if a university's actions don't align with government priorities like combating anti-Semitism. Earlier this year, Harvard rejected a list of White House demands, including overhauling hiring and admission practices, demanding the school make it merit-based. The university saying those demands would undermine its independence. Harvard University professor Maya Jasanoff spoke with ABC News back in May.
I myself am partly of Jewish descent, and like many of my Jewish colleagues, I have flourished at Harvard. I was indeed an undergraduate there at a time when a high percentage of my classmates were Jewish. Harvard has become an increasingly inclusive institution over the decades.
Since taking office in January, Trump has cracked down on top U.S. universities, demanding they dismantle their DEI programs. The president also accusing the schools of mishandling last year's pro-Palestinian protests and allowing anti-Semitism to fester on campuses.
They have asked for payroll records. They've asked for years of disciplinary files. They've asked for videos of all student protests going back to 2000.
They are going to try to deport any student that is here on a green card, a visa, here legally, that has ever spoken up against the administration, in favor of Palestinians. This is fucking chilling.
They've given extraordinarily rigid deadlines, a deadline of even just 1 week for those most recent demands.
And Trump is slamming the judge in this case, calling her a total disaster, saying that the government would immediately appeal if she rules in Harvard's favor. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Just total insanity. Mike Johnson had the opportunity today to vote to give us the Epstein files. Blocked a vote.
He has said that he wants all the credible files related to Epstein to be released. He's asked the Attorney General to request the grand jury files of the court. All of that is in process right now. My belief is we need the administration to have the space to do what it is doing, and if further congressional action is necessary or appropriate, then we'll look at that. But I don't think we're at that point right now because we agree with the president.
So no vote on this resolution before?
No.
This is the White House Director of Legislative Affairs. I'm just kidding. That was the Speaker. Tim Miller. This is an issue that should be easy for them, like even easier than tariffs, which their voters don't want, even easier than...
oh my God, it's one of the pod save guys. Tones, did you say you'd never heard of them until this election? Because shit, I remember them. I actually listened to them. Oh, the Bulwark guy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm mixing up my libs. Oh, sorry, clinically. Okay, my bad. But yeah, I was listening to Pod Save guys back in like 2018.
Their voters do not want cuts to Medicaid, but their voters are...
Yeah, this guy's pretty sassy. I kind of like him.
And they can't even vote to release them? What is this?
It's a pickle for Mike Johnson. I know you think it's an easy one, but here's the problem. Yeah, sure, it's an easy one with the base voters. It's easy to know what they want in the grand scheme of things, but he can't get on the wrong side of Donald Trump. I mean, there's a graveyard of past Republican speakers who got on the wrong side of Donald Trump on various issues. And so I think
there has been so many speakers. There has been so many Republican speakers of the House in the last 15 years. There has been one Democrat. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got Hakeem Jeffries now. He hasn't been speaker yet, though.
I think that Mike Johnson is almost certainly not, I guess who knows, but there's good reason he would not be read in on whatever it was that was behind the decision for Donald Trump or Pam Bondi to not release these additional files. And so if you're Mike Johnson, it's like, I guess let's try to kick the can down the road. But it's a bigger problem than those other issues you mentioned, right? Because tariffs and Medicaid cuts do not inspire the passions of the base or the passions of the MAGA media like this does. And just for us coming on, the Theo Von, one of those Manosphere podcasters who interviewed J.D. Vance twice, I think, and Trump.
No, I was saying it as a bad thing. I was absolutely saying it that it was a bad thing that the Democrats have had one Speaker of the House. I think the churn in the Republican Party is good. I think it probably represents the will of the voters a lot better.
Louisiana, like Mike Johnson, he's posting at his fellow Louisiana. Mike Johnson, he's like, bring this to the floor. Ro Khanna, it's a bipartisan bill. Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, why won't you bring this to the floor? You're in a bad way, if you're Mike Johnson and you have these huge podcasters with massive megaphones like calling you out saying bring this to the floor, and you're now put in this position where you have to be the one standing in the way of more information about these child sex crimes. It's a really bad position for him to be in.
Well, and Tim Miller wasn't, I don't feel bad for him that he's in a pickle, but wasn't he in a different position on this like 72 hours ago? Didn't he have a different position on one of those Manosphere podcasts a week ago?
He did. I also don't feel bad for him being in a pickle. I'm just describing like what he's stuck between Trump and the base, right? And the MAGA media, right? That's where he is. Usually they're aligned on all of that because Trump usually gets in line with where the base is or brings the base along.
But I will say clinically there were two big reasons to vote for
I thought
Nancy Pelosi.
That actually piqued my interest more than this, right? This idea that he was going to buck Trump to push this through. Yeah. So I'm not surprised that he's now gotten in line. But I mean, there's at some level, if you're Mike Johnson, it's kind of like, why not bring this up and kind of dump this on the executive branch? This is your issue to deal with anyway. You guys could decide what to release. But I think in the meantime, he's decided that his prime objective is staying in the Trump's good graces.
Let me read from the other piece of reporting in the New York Times this morning. This is inside the long friendship between Trump and Epstein. Quote, in the early 90s, when Trump hosted a party at Mar-a-Lago for young women in a so-called calendar girl competition, Mr. Epstein was the only other guest, according to George Hornery, a Florida-based businessman who arranged the event.
George Hornery? George Hornery? Are we really believing George Hornery? Really? Oh, God, that's actually his name, isn't it? Hornery? George Horny. George Horny.
Surprised that Mr. Epstein was the only other person on the guest list. Quote, I said, Donald, this is supposed to be a party with VIPs. Mr. Hornery told the New York Times in 2019, you're telling me it's you.
Nicole Wallace had a hard time with it. She didn't want to say George Horny. George Horny. It's the guy's name. We're citing George Horny about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's proclivities for young women.
Again, I mean, good graces.
The event. According to George Hornery, a Florida-based businessman who arranged the event. He recalled being surprised that Mr. Epstein was the only other person on the guest list. Quote, I said, Donald, this is supposed to be a party with VIPs. Mr. Hornery told the New York Times in 2019, you're telling me it's you and Epstein? His then girlfriend.
I can't. This is not real life. We're listening to George Horny tell us about Donald Trump and Jeff Epstein.
Epstein was the only other guest, according to George Hornery, a Florida-based businessman who arranged the event. He recalled being surprised that Mr. Epstein was the only other person on the guest list. Quote, I said, Donald, this is supposed to be a party with VIPs. Mr. Hornery told the New York Times in 2019, you're telling me it's you and Epstein? His then girlfriend and business partner, Jill Hart, later accused Trump of sexual misconduct on the night of the party. In a lawsuit, she said that Trump took her into a bedroom and forcibly kissed and fondled her and restrained her from leaving. She also said that a 22-year-old contestant told her that Trump later that night crawled into her bed uninvited. Ms. Hart dropped her suit in 97 after a related case filed by her boyfriend was settled by Trump, who has denied her allegation.
Wallace skipped over it. She didn't want to say Mr. Hornery. Oh my God. The case was filed by Mr. Horny, settled by Mr. Trump, denied her allegations.
Mike Schmidt, this is one of the oldest fact patterns of the nearly 24 accusations of sexual misconduct against Donald Trump. I think the only one that's been adjudicated may be E. Jean Carroll, and Donald Trump was found liable for sexual abuse and defamation in that case. But just talk about this part of the story reemerging because of the base's appetite for all.
You don't think I would say George Horny every chance I got in the story?
The FBI files.
Well, to me, what this situation that Trump finds himself in, the sort of the inability to control the base on being, believing a conspiracy theory, it comes back to the beginning of the Trump story for me. So for me, the Trump story starts in Benghazi in 2012. And in the aftermath of that attack, the far right-wing media and folks on Fox News stoked the base in conspiracy theories about what happened in Benghazi, that there was some sort of Obama cover-up, that there was...
Feel like it started long before that. The priming the pump Well, a phrase that Donald Trump used to love to say. That happened long before Benghazi.
Something that the government had done, our own government had done malicious.
Hell, Trump participated in the Obama birth certificate conspiracy theory. That one predates Benghazi.
Or incorrectly, that was more than just the fact that our outposts at Benghazi had been attacked. The fervor about that was so great that eventually Congress had to appoint a special committee to investigate that attack. And in as part of that investigation, when that investigation soaked up a lot of things, they were able to learn about Hillary Clinton's email server, and at least a disclosure about Hillary Clinton's email server. What I'm trying to say about this is that these types of conspiracy theories, when they dip the base in the lighter fluid of conspiracy theories, and the base is ravenous to try and prove what they have been told to be true, it can just have a mind of its own, and it can have an energy of its own, and it can continue on in ways that are unintended. Now, because, for example, when they started doing that on Benghazi, they didn't think they were going to find Hillary Clinton's, email server. In that sense, it really helped them. And in many senses, stoking conspiracy theories has helped them. It helped coalesce people around them to vote for Donald Trump, in 2024. But you can't necessarily control them. And I think that's what we're seeing here, is that Trump is basically, in his administration, to use the word you guys were using, is in this pickle where they're trying to satisfy a base that has been told time and time again something exists that's really horrific that they want to totally get to the bottom of, and that they have joined this movement to get to the bottom of, and that Donald Trump is supposed to be the leader to hold these people accountable. And that has a mind of its own.
Representative Tim Burchett, who is in the running for one of the most bat crap crazy members of Congress that we have. I know. That race has a lot of participants. He's coming after Democrats over the Epstein debacle.
Thank you so much for joining us, Congressman. So Attorney General Bondi asked the federal judge to release grand jury testimony from the Epstein case. But as you know, that's only a fraction of the so-called Epstein files and evidence amassed as a result of the investigation. You've co-sponsored legislation with your colleague Thomas Massie to release all of the Epstein files. So I can't imagine you're content with this small, discrete grand jury information being released. That's not enough, right?
I think it's a start, Jake, and thank you for your fair reporting on this up to this point. I think Senator Klobuchar, as she likes to say, as a former prosecutor, where the heck was she the last 4 years? Dick Durbin, and you're correct, he did effectively try to and did block my Senator Blackburn from getting those files released. And it's clear what the Democrats are up to. They're tanking. The country knows it. Their biggest candidate in the whole country, Jake, is a guy, people in New York, people are accusing of a communist. And what's he say? Oh, hey, I'm not a communist. I'm a socialist. As if that's a selling point. That's what the Democrat Party has fallen into. Where the heck have they been the last 4 years? I'm ticked off at everybody. Look, this thing should have been handled. Now we're at the point they're going to start dumping.
Once again, this is a man who gets all of his information from far right media, and this is a sitting congressman. Like, nobody in the world has made that. I'm not a communist. I'm a socialist. That is only framing that you would hear from some dipshit right-wing AM radio host in probably East Tennessee. God damn.
Socialist, as if that's a selling point. That's what the Democrat Party has fallen into. Where the heck have they been the last 4 years? I'm ticked off at everybody. Look, this thing should have been handled. Now we're at the point they're going to start dumping files. And my biggest fear in this, Jake, you got 1,000 children that were abused by this dirtbag who's burning in hell right now, and he should be. And yet the American public's all pointing the finger, trying to play politics with this thing, and it's not accurate. I applaud the president for wanting to release those files. I think it's a good start. I think, you know, they keep saying he talked about it repeatedly, and that's just not accurate. He was asked 2 different times during the campaign about it, and he said, sure, we're going to release them.
I agree, and no, he didn't say sure during the campaign. Listen. Trump didn't actually campaign on releasing the Epstein files. That never happened. I know some people have said that. People in Trump's orbit absolutely made an issue of Epstein files during the campaign, including people like Kash Patel. Trump actually, and this is one of the just the mind-boggling hypocrisies. Trump actually sued CBS over the supposed editing of an interview that Kamala Harris did. But in reality, Trump was asked about releasing the Epstein files, and Tim Burchett says he was like, okay, sure. That's only what the Fox edited interview made it seem like he said. When you watch the whole unedited interview, he's like, okay, sure, we'll release MLK, we'll release JFK. I don't know about those Epstein files. We might want to move past them. And Fox edited that out to help him. Literally what he accused CBS of doing that they didn't do with Harris. She just had a long rambling answer, and they aired one part of it in like a teaser and then the other part during the actual interview. And when you put the both parts together, it's still the same answer. Changed nothing about it whatsoever. Fox literally edited an interview about Epstein to help Trump. And I feel like I'm the only one over here that like sees this going on. I feel like I'm going out of my goddamn mind.
He also said he's going to release the UFO files and the Kennedy files, and we're still working on all that because it is a dadgum process. You've got innocent people.
Dadgum! You got your dadgum, DJ Dub. Are you happy? It's a dadgum process.
During the campaign about it, and he said, sure, we're going to release them. He also said he's going to release the UFO files and the Kennedy files, and we're still working on all that because it is a dadgum process. You've got innocent people on those flight logs that flew. President Trump has admitted he flew on those flights. And
I don't think he's innocent.
Americans, I'm sure, rode. I know a lot of wealthy people, Jake, and they fly on these dadgum planes, private planes. If one's broke down, they say, hey, I got
get you 2 of them.
Plane. Can you want to ride with us to New York? And that's what happens. And so I caution America, though, if we need to have some sort of way to filter out the innocence in these things. Yeah. And for Dick Durbin to start making his point now, I think
Trump is not innocent.
The media should bust his tail for that because that is very disingenuous, and that is clearly a cover-up by the Democrat Party.
Wow. We watched Tiny Toons the other night when we were doing vacation content, and I don't remember the character's name. It's the little bird character, and he has a foul mouth, and he kept saying "daggum." Oh, Tones. Did you know that Trump has no age limit? Well, maybe not a 12-year-old. Other than that.
What is the best thing about being Donald Trump right now?
Well, other than the fact I'm married, okay?
Right.
And I'm very happily married. I have a great wife. But if I weren't married, I'd be able to get all of the girls I want, except for possibly Robin.
Do you think you could now be banging 24-year-olds?
Oh, absolutely. I have no trouble.
Would you do it?
I have no problem.
Yeah, do you have an age limit, or would you...
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age... I don't want to be
the
like...
upper bracket, yeah.
Foley with, 12-year-olds.
Can I make a prediction for you?
Yes.
I say you have one more marriage in you.
Yeah.
He draws the line at 12-year-olds. Doesn't think he can pick up Robin. I agree. Robin's got class.
What is the best thing about being Donald Trump right now?
Well, other than the fact I'm married, okay?
Right.
And I'm very happily married. I have a great wife. But if I weren't married, I'd be able to get all of the girls I want, except for possibly Robin.
Do you think you could now be banging 24-year-olds?
Oh, absolutely. I have no trouble.
Would you do it?
I have no problem.
Yeah, do you have an age limit, or would you...
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age. I don't want to be
the
like
upper bracket,
Congressman Foley with, 12-year-olds.
Can I make a prediction for you?
Yes.
I say you have one more marriage in you.
Yeah. Well, that's...
Robin, hands down, the best thing about that show. He doesn't want to get caught. He doesn't want to get caught with any 12-year-olds. We need to write a song about how we don't diddle kids. Don't diddle kids. No, don't do it. Older than my daughter, younger than my wife. Don't diddle kids. I have a hard time transitioning to genocide, but that's where we're going next. From don't diddle kids to don't bomb kids. The Trump White House is reportedly growing increasingly frustrated with Bibi Netanyahu. Cancel Justin.
Welcome back. White House officials are reportedly, and that's an important word, reportedly upset with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after his airstrikes on Syria. One of them told Axios he, meaning Netanyahu, quote, acted like a madman. There's also concern in the West Wing about an Israeli strike hitting the only Catholic church in Gaza.
If you're getting accused of being a madman by the Trump administration.
Who's seeking an explanation. Staff writer for the New York Times Magazine, Ronin Bergman, joins me now. Ronin, you know as well as I do, one blind quote in one outlet in Washington, D.C. does not a full-blown dispute make. However, is there something going on between the Trump White House and Benjamin Netanyahu that merits closer scrutiny and that could be on the verge of a break?
Well, we've been hearing about tension for a while.
I would be hesitant to declare what was declared many, many times as the coming on the brink of, very close to, an explosion of the usually good relations between them. President Trump, as we reported a few weeks ago, has turned from one side of opposing an Israeli-American strike in Iran to agree to an Israeli one and then join in. However, there seems to be a growing, I would say, unhappiness with the White House when Prime Minister Netanyahu is not following the strong recommendations, the ongoing strong recommendations from President Trump and his aides to finish the war. Now, there is an ongoing discussion on an intermediate deal.
What does finish the war mean? Netanyahu, one, is probably trying to position himself to remain out of prison during the next election, which is going to happen sometime within like the next year and a half. So he probably has the incentive to keep the war going because there is no end goal. It's like our end goal in Iraq. What was the end goal? We didn't have one. It was just perpetual. It was to feed the war machine. That's all it was. Multiple goals being served, perverse incentive structures, such as trying to keep an old fucking piece of shit corrupted politician out of jail. Times two.
Hostages that will be released in exchange of 60 days ceasefire, in exchange of Palestinian prisoners released. The problem is not about that intermediate deal, because most of the sides, including Netanyahu, will take this. The problem is that Hamas is demanding U.S. commitment, not just for that deal, not just for 60 days ceasefire, but that this will evolve into and will not be, the ceasefire will evolve into and will not be stopped for war and will result in a total cessation of hostilities, withdrawal of the Israeli army from Gaza, release of all the hostages, and the end of this horrifying, unbelievably long and cruel war. And this is, and Israel for the time being is not agreeing to make such a commitment. Basically, Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, has not agreed to end the war in Gaza. And
it's been all him the entire time.
Because of Hamas not believing that only U.S. commitment are enough, we are not seeing the end deal, but we are also not seeing a small deal because it's dependent on U.S. commitment and how much Hamas believe in U.S. commitment, that the U.S. will be able to enforce a final agreement, total cessation of hostility on Netanyahu.
Ronen, how much have the recent civilian casualties, and I know and you know better than I do, rampant civilian casualties throughout this conflict, but casualties of starving or nearly starving Palestinians being shot by Israelis trying to obtain food. We mentioned the strike on the Catholic Church there. How much has that, if at all, created to this friction in this relationship?
Well, you should be a much better interpreter of American politics than President Trump. But I heard that President Trump is striving to have the Nobel Prize for peace. As long as such an ongoing war with so many casualties on both sides is going on, I think President Trump is seeing his vision or his dream to get the Nobel Prize just getting further and further away. With respect to the fact that it was Prime Minister Netanyahu who just recommended him to get the prize, I'm not sure that if President Trump wants to get the Nobel Prize, he would choose Prime Minister Netanyahu as his first person to recommend. But I think that it seems that the Trump administration
he is not winning a Nobel Prize.
Get this conflict done and over. And as we reported in the New York Times Magazine with my great colleagues Patrick Kingsley and Nathan Odenheimer, Benjamin Netanyahu.
And to be fair, Obama shouldn't have won one.
Under or during the Biden,
maybe for the Iran deal later in his presidency,
was repeated
normalizations of Cuba relations
on the timeline again and again and again and again in what can be seen as a T-junction. If turning left, he could end the war, end the hostilities, bring back the hostages, and also have something very fruitful for him, which is a reconciliation with Saudi Arabia, the most important Arab country in the region. And he decided to turn right, not just turning right, but also to take the ultra-right position of his government because he was afraid that this will cost him the coalition.
What did he get it for anyway? It was like Libya or some shit. It was something that ended up like being a complete catastrophe.
The politics as opposed to diplomacy and an end to the conflict. Ronen Bergman of the New York Times Magazine, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
I gotta find this out because citing Obama's promotion of nuclear non-proliferation and a new climate in international relations fostered by Obama, especially in reaching out to the Muslim world. Nobel Committee's decision drew mixed reactions from U.S. commentators. Seriously, no, give me a real reason why he was nominated. In 2000, he hadn't even had a chance to do anything as president. Just complete and utter bullshit. Obama should have never won this. He accepted the award in December of 2009. He had been in office, 9 months, 10 months? I don't even know. They didn't cite any specific country. Just a new climate, especially in the Muslim world, right before they collapsed Libya. As we're still completely bombing Afghanistan and Iraq, ISIS is surging. But it was a new climate because he came into office. He said hope and change. He literally won a Nobel Prize based on the slogan hope and change. Holy shit. I should give Trump a Nobel Prize. If that's what you're going to do. If that's the kind of shit you're going to pull, then the award is worthless to begin with. Seriously, that's insulting. I thought I remembered it being at least a little more concrete of a reason than, just the feels. That's a horrible reason. Once again, totally would have had no beef with Obama getting a Nobel Peace Prize for the Iraq deal, normalization of relations with Cuba, something like that. Absolutely. That's like earth-shattering changes that shake up the geopolitical landscape. Just because he ran on hope and change while we had a shitty-ass president bombing Iraq. That's what Obama won a Nobel. Not being Bush. You won this Nobel Prize because you got elected and you're not Bush. I wonder what the world would have been like had Bush lost the prime... Uh-oh. Caller, you're on the Troll Patrol. What's going on?
Hey, man, I just want to say you're fucking...
You suck at this, man. You suck. You didn't even get anything on air that time. Aha! I got you. I had to block your number or something. I don't want to have to do that. Why you gotta make me do that kind of shit for? I don't like being that kind of guy. Low quality troll. I wonder what life would have been like had... I wonder if that's my buddy. Are you, Mikey? Is that your name? It's the dude, he tried to get me banned from Facebook. Got me taken down for a little bit. I got your picture over here somewhere. It is you, isn't it? I'll give you one more chance. What? Chicken butt. Yeah, you guys didn't even it's so fucking bad. You didn't even make it on the stream, my friend. You're too obvious. And if that's all you're gonna do, bro, I can't with you. I'm sorry. You're just trying to get me. Are you my friend that had the towel on his head in the picture? And I shared out your profile picture and you accused me of doxing you? This may not be him, but it's possible. I've been having a back and forth with him. He's been all up in my Twitter. He was in here one night. You guys all made fun of him. Just added up, I've been, mocking people for voting for a fucking pedophile because you guys voted for a pedophile. I love his description, just seeking facts and statistics rather than feelings. So I'm talking about Trump being a pedophile. I mean, you're the pedo that cares way too much about keeping kids on hormone blockers. Notice the topic, not trans kids. This dude is obsessed with trans kids. Apparently, by the way, hormone blockers, I mean, I promote doctors and parents making what decision is best for their kids. I don't give a shit about hormone blockers. Puberty blockers, one, they're not some big scary thing. They're completely reversible. You guys make it sound like it's some scary, like Carolyn Levitt referring to it as chemical castration earlier in the day, because like one of the chemicals when used in a large dose is used to chemically castrate people. It's the weirdest things you guys focus on, and it's mainly because you're stupid you say these things. You're just misinformed. But I love the dude says he's taking me down. He is taking me down. Come on, Mikey. Take me down. I've been doing this over 5 years now. Do you know how many people have taken me down? Zero. Now, producer Dave was talking about somebody I took down last night. Asked me where he was at. I looked it up. He's in federal prison. Why don't you find out where Poop Boy is right now? He tried to fuck with me, and I called his girlfriend at her workplace. Because that's how good I am. He got in big trouble over that one. So you don't try to troll King Troll of the internet. You come for the king, you better not miss. What about the guy that I got to drive like 8 hours because he thought he found my address? We've had some fun times here on the Troll Patrol. So if you think you're going to take me down, all I got to say is, come on, take your best shot. I dare you. I'm up for the challenge. Oh, Mikey boy. Unfuckable face. Probably, you know, this dude looks like he would be a drag queen or something. No offense to drag queens. Feel like he likes to dress up in women's clothes, and then he hates himself for it, and that's why he has all these weird hang-ups about gender. I'm not wrong, am I, Mikey? It's called psychological repression. Right-wingers suffer from it. That might not be our friends calling in. It might be. I don't know. I'm taking a wild guess. But it would just be kind of weird that I had the encounter with him earlier today. And then I, tagged him on Twitter. It was like, hey, Troll Patrol's on. So that's probably what we get from Mikey, that he calls in and drops N-bombs. Because he's childish. He's trying to get me taken down. He said he was going to take down all my social medias. Go ahead, try, man. Like, I'm usually banned on everything anyway. I do a good job of getting my own self taken down from social medias. I think back to 2000. I wonder how life would have been different if John McCain had won the primary instead of George W. Bush. We would have had to put up with Meghan McCain. That probably wouldn't have been very good. But, Cindy don't seem too bad. Cindy on here talking about the horrific starvation going on in Gaza.
Been seeing an alarming rise in the number of children that have been dying from malnutrition, from hunger. We heard from the Ministry of Health in Gaza that they say 4 children have died, or at least 4, in the past 3 days, the youngest of them just 3 months old. Now we have a report. I must warn viewers that some of these images that you are about to see are very distressing. 4-year-old Razan Abu Sahar was hospitalised with malnutrition more than 1 month ago. Malnutrition has caused her to suffer from a mobility disability, her mother says. Her health was good before the war, but there is nothing to strengthen her. No milk in the hospitals or pharmacies. Sunday, Razan became the latest child in Gaza to die of hunger. Her skeletal body laid out on a slab of stone, painful proof of the famine the UN and others have long warned about. It is shocking, but should not be surprising. In the space of 24 hours, 18 deaths were caused by famine, according to the Ministry of Health in Gaza. Yasser Ahmad was waiting at this soup kitchen since
completely man-made,
desperate to take something home to his family of 12. Flour is expensive, he says. Everything is expensive. Where can we get food from? We don't know what we'll do in the end. Eat each other? When his turn comes, the amount poured into his bowl is minimal. He walks the 4 kilometres back home. When his wife sees how little is in the pot, she starts crying. Is this enough for 12 people, she asks? Is it enough for a woman who is 7 months pregnant? Even a 1-year-old child wouldn't be satisfied by this. Pouring the watery soup into one bowl, the family eats together. The father allows himself just 1 spoonful, leaving the rest for his children and grandchildren. After this, he says he will go to another soup kitchen to see if he can keep starvation at bay for 1 more day. Israel says the military is working to allow and facilitate the transfer of humanitarian aid into Gaza, including food, adding there are trucks yet to be picked up by aid groups. The UN says Israel often denies permission to move aid or approves routes too dangerous to travel. Thousands across Gaza risk their lives every day in the search for food.
And they're the reason the routes are too dangerous to travel.
Sunday by Israeli gunfire while trying to access aid, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. The IDF says it, quote, fired warning shots in order to remove an immediate threat posed to them. It cast doubt on the death toll. The UN says accessing aid has become a death trap. The UN World Food Programme says Gaza's hunger crisis has now reached new levels of desperation. Hospital officials say they're seeing an unprecedented number of starving citizens arriving at a...
They have cut off meals. Like at the one working hospital they have, they've cut off meals to staff now. There's no meals for patients.
Emergency departments. A man-made catastrophe that has been continuously warned about. No one can say they didn't see this coming. We've had a statement.
We've watched it live stream for 2 fucking years now.
Western nations, including the UK, France, Australia, Canada. It's stronger than it often is from these countries, saying that the suffering of civilians in Gaza has reached new depths. Also saying, quote, the Israeli government's denial of essential humanitarian assistance to the civilian population is unacceptable, saying the number of people that have been killed while seeking aid is horrifying.
Death to the IDF.
And we warned you those images would be distressing, and they were, I'm afraid. The UN World Food Programme demanding shootings near aid sites in Gaza stop immediately, as you heard in Paula's report. Dozens of Palestinians...
Once again, fantastic reporting by CNN. This is CNN International. I don't know that people in the United States saw this. I don't know if this aired on the main CNN channel.
Were reportedly killed by Israeli fire on Sunday as the organisation tried to distribute badly needed food. Well, I spoke with the WFP's chief, Cindy McCain. We spoke earlier today, and she explained in detail what happened.
This is one of the worst tragedies we've seen so far in this particular war. What happened was we had clearance to go through the Zakim gate we were through the gate. The Israelis had, as you know, they clear everything and they decide when and if you go in. And we began our trek down the road, and what we saw were thousands of people running towards us, and they were hungry, they're starving. And all of a sudden, the Israeli tanks, Israeli guns, Israeli weapons from all kinds started firing on the crowd. And it was just, it's something that I hope never happens again. But more importantly, our group, WFP, our people that work for us were there too, and they were put in grave danger as a result of that. No humanitarian aid worker should ever be a target of anything.
Well, this follows a trend over the last 2 months where over 800 Palestinians have been killed around aid distributions.
And you know what? Like, I was trying to think of what she was an heiress to, because she was some sort of heiress. It was like one of the largest Anheuser-Busch distributors. This woman, possibly a billionaire, but she's on the fucking front line, so props to her. And this is not the only organization she participates in, so she's actually doing good in the world.
Sites, the majority of those are at the controversial US-backed and Israel-supported Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Can you be very specific? Are you coordinating in any way or supporting in any way that operational model? And what is your view on the GHF?
Well, we are not coordinating, and we do not work with GHF. As you know, we're a UN agency, and so we have our UN, the way the UN operates is different from what GHF is doing. I don't really have any information about them at all because we don't even talk.
The GHF model was developed according to those involved with it, with private sector input and Israeli government coordination, designed to minimize.
No, that's the reason why they don't
interference.
Yep, that's why they don't coordinate with it.
Looting. Is there any evidence to suggest that that is correct? Have you seen any evidence of that? What is the picture on the ground?
Well, the picture on the ground is terrifying. Under no circumstances do we want any armed groups involved in or watching over or guiding us in whatever way they feel they should. Armed groups are not necessary, and we do not want them. We want to deal in safety and with the guidance of humanitarian principles and humanitarian law. When we had full access, we had 400 distribution sites. We were getting in 600 trucks a day. So the capability that we have is unmatched by any other organization or any other foundation with that in that respect. And the truth is, right now, the most important thing we could do is get the food in, and we know where our food goes because we have a system on the ground that is tested and works. And so as far as the looting goes, we view it a little differently. These people are starving to death. It is looting, but they're hungry. And so that does occur.
Is there any evidence to suggest that Hamas operatives, those associated with Hamas on the ground, are involved in that looting, in interfering with the aid distribution to the extent that that food aid is not getting into that?
Why are we so focused on that?
Who need it most?
You know, we've not seen that. We have seen what...
I guess just to counteract IDF propaganda.
But as with regards to who's in the armed groups and what it is, no, we've not seen that at all. We just continue to do our job and get the job done as much as we can.
Is there any sense that Israel will allow WFP and other aid organizations to do their job and restart aid? Have you spoken directly to Israeli authorities?
We talk to Israeli authorities daily, and each day there is some promises made, and we believe in the good faith. You're working on good faith. We need a ceasefire. That's exactly what we need right now to make sure that we can can not just get in, but that keep sustained ability to be able to get food in. Here and there, bits and pieces don't work. We need full sustained access. We need at scale, so we can set up the kinds of aid stations that can actually help people and do it where it's not a panic situation, where they know they can rely on the food coming in that day. We are the largest food agency on the planet. We're really, truly the only organization that can do this at scale. And if there's one message I want to leave, it would be that we need to be able to get in. We need a ceasefire.
Cindy McCain speaking to me earlier.
Cindy McCain can be my GOP mommy. Like, I'd actually be down with that. Yeah. Rich, has a heart. Not sure she's part of the GOP. I think she might have left. I think she might have changed her party affiliation. Wall Street Journal reporter witnesses the chaos at a Gaza aid site.
We are reporting about an incident where at least 20 people were killed at an aid distribution site in southern Gaza. I was there the day before, and I witnessed events that would be a harbinger of the tragic events that were occurred.
For about an hour, I watched people walk around 2 kilometers from their homes in Khan Yunis or in the Mawasi tent camp near the seaside and gather outside the aid distribution site. Every now and then you might hear what sounds like weapons.
The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the group that runs this site, told the Wall Street Journal it had no record of guns being shot that day.
But it was clear that already the crowd near the site was getting rowdy, even if people were walking to it slowly and calm. The moment that a few men managed to break through the site, all hell broke loose very, very fast. Suddenly everyone began sprinting towards the aid distribution site, running as fast as they could. And everybody, as quickly as they could, grabbed the boxes of aid. And what you had was, at least for 10, 15 minutes, people running, sprinting through the desert, a long path through the desert to get to the distribution site. And it all happens just so quickly. And it was demonstrative, essentially, of the uncertainty that surrounds this whole plan. Because the moment people recognize that order has broken down, they move as quickly as they can to get any aid, because what they don't know is if this site will be open tomorrow or the next day. They don't know if this is the last box of aid that they'll be getting for some time. Neither the Israeli military nor the American contractors have figured out how to safely secure the site, safely do crowd control in these types of conditions where there's no food security, where people in Gaza don't know if they're going to get food the next day. And this has just created this incredibly combustible situation. In terms of the future, officially, there's no plans to roll back this private aid distribution program. In fact, my understanding is that the Israeli military wants to increase the aid distribution sites. They think this will help solve the problem because it will help solve the crowding issue. If there are more distribution sites, then there's less crowding and less of a chance of these violent incidents occurring. Ultimately, the issue of this aid distribution program, its fate will be decided in current ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas. Right now, those two are engaged in very serious high-level talks to get at least a temporary ceasefire. And one of the main issues of contention here is what will happen to these private aid distribution programs. Will they be able to exist during the ceasefire? Or, as Hamas is asking for, will it be disbanded completely, and will Hamas retake control of those areas where those US-backed aid distribution program currently exists?
It seems like Hamas should take back control. Things were clearly better under Hamas. In Bangladesh, insane footage. The aftermath of a Air Force jet that crashed into a school campus.
Flames and billowing smoke rose from a school campus in Dhaka, where a Bangladesh Air Force training aircraft crashed on Monday. A military spokesperson said the Air Force training jet experienced a technical problem shortly after takeoff. Some of the more than 160 injured in the crash were raced into a local hospital on stretchers. At least 19 people were killed, according to officials as of Monday morning. Crowds watched the chaos from a distance as emergency workers rushed to extinguish the flames. Families of the victims, unsure of the status of their loved ones, shouted and had to be restrained as others tried to comfort them. Masood Tarek is a teacher at the Milestone School and College where the crash occurred.
When I was picking up my kids and went to the gate, I realized something came from behind. Then I heard an explosion. When I looked back, I only saw fire and smoke. Then I just rushed my kids on an auto rickshaw and saw fire and smoke again. There were many guardians and kids here.
The military said the pilot was among those killed in the incident, adding that a committee had been formed to investigate the cause of the crash.
Yesterday, we reported on a B-52 bomber that almost hit an airliner. We're going to hear from the pilot about that incident.
For those of you on the right-hand side, you probably saw the airplane kind of sort of coming at us. Nobody told us about it, and so we continued, and air traffic. There's no radar here, so the tower is controlled, the tower does everything visually, and so they said report about 6 miles from the airport. So we did that. I think he realized that the spacing wasn't going to work, and he said turn right. And he looked over, and there was an airplane, which those of you on the right-hand side, I thought it was a small airplane like the one you see at the airport right now doing touch and goes. And he said turn right. I said there's an airplane over there, and he says turn left. And that by the time we read back the clearance, looked over and saw the airplane that was kind of coming on a converging course with us. And so given his speed, it was a military, I don't know how fast they were going, but they were a lot faster than us. I felt it was the safest thing to do to turn behind it. So sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all. I don't know why they didn't give us a heads up, because the Air Force Base does have radar, and nobody said, hey, there's also a B-52 in the pattern. Long story short, it was not fun, but I do apologize for it, and I thank you for understanding. It's not a fun day at work.
That pilot sounds very calm, cool. Let's hear more from him.
Pilot is being hailed a hero today for narrowly evading a mid-air collision with a B-52 bomber.
We were traveling straight and then it went sideways.
Monica Green was a passenger on the regional Delta flight traveling from Minneapolis to a small airport in Minot, North Dakota. As they were coming in to land, the Delta pilot spotted, of all things, the massive B-52 bomber right in his path. The bomber was doing a flyover at the nearby North Dakota State Fair, but because the local airport has no radar, the air traffic controller was guiding the planes by sight and didn't see how close they were. So the Delta pilot had to make a sharp right to get the heck out.
Sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise.
That's the voice of the pilot apologizing to his passengers for the abrupt evasive maneuver. You can see the wild turns he was forced to make on FlightAware.
The plane just went completely sideways. It felt really weird to look out the window and just see grass instead of seeing the horizon. Like you're just literally just facing the ground. It was pretty weird.
When they landed, the hero pilot explained what happened. Even he sounded a little rattled.
This is not normal at all.
I thought he sounded very calm for the situation.
Hey, there's also a B-52 in the pattern. Long story short, it was not fun, but I do apologize for it. Not a fun day at work. So have a nice evening, and I'm glad you're safe.
That round of applause is well deserved.
That pilot was awesome.
The Air Force and the FAA say they have launched investigations into the incident.
At least they didn't land on a school. That was the previous story, not the next story. It sounded like I was transitioning. into the next story. This one's wild. We're finally getting some semblance of justice for Breonna Taylor 5 years after she was killed in her home for no goddamn reason. The Trump Justice Department asked for 1 day. The judge said, nuh-uh. But Breonna Taylor's aunt was arrested outside of the courthouse.
And right now, tonight at 5, we're on standby. Any moment now. Breonna Taylor died more than 5 years ago, as you know, and now it has come down to the final sentencing, a moment that once again has brought a group of protesters to downtown Louisville. Hello, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us today at 5. I'm Doug Proffitt. It was all in November. The federal jury found Hankerson guilty of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights just last November. The jury determined that he used excessive force when he blindly fired 10 shots into the side of her South End apartment. His shots also went into a neighboring apartment that night where a pregnant woman...
I mean, I'll take it. He absolutely did violate her civil rights, but he also murdered her.
...and was living. He was found not guilty of violating their rights. Hankerson was also acquitted of his state charges by a Louisville jury. That happened in 2022. And we were joined now by WHAS 11's Jose Alonso. He has been covering the scene outside the case right now, and we have a live look right now at the moment when the sentencing. As you can see, the courthouse steps there are empty as everybody is still inside, as the judge has been taking up this case since 1:30 this afternoon. Now, here's a look at the history of this case. Hankerson is one of the officers who performed a no-knock warrant on Breonna Taylor's apartment that night. March 13th, 2020, LMPD officers in plain clothes broke into her apartment that night, busted into it with a battering ram after midnight. Taylor was at home in bed with her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Walker insists officers did not announce themselves that evening. Thinking it was possibly a break-in, Walker admittedly fired a shot that hit former LMPD officer.
Legal gun owner.
Injuring him.
You didn't hear the NRA coming to his defense.
Officers opened fire. Mattingly, Miles Cosgrove, and Brett Hankerson shot at Walker and Taylor. Ballistics show Cosgrove shot the bullet that killed her. Taylor was a 26-year-old Metro EMT. She was not the main suspect in the drug investigation that led officers to her home to that.
She wasn't a suspect. Neither was Kenneth Walker. They tampered with a warrant. They forged evidence in order to even get the warrant in the first place. This is 100% illegal. I do not like the news framing of this, and they should know this. This is the local news station.
Night. Now, we do want to pick them up with more of our team coverage here for you on this Monday. WHAS 11's Jose Alonso has also been outside the courthouse all afternoon. And Jose, describe the crowd. Things got a little intense for a while, and then have they calmed down?
Doug, yeah, ever since we got here at 2:30, things have been calm since then. We're on the other side of the courthouse, not next to the crowd anymore. We have Alyssa Newton over there right now, but things are still feeling peaceful, but there's still that sharp tension surrounding this entire federal courthouse. We're here at one of the doors where we're anticipating one of these doors Brett Hankerson could be walking out of, so we'll keep you posted on that. But it was a chaotic scene just hours earlier. I want to show you that video that we're talking about.
It was since 33 months.
Going on, dramatic video showing protesters in the middle of West Broadway Street, and you can see that one of them trying to jump on top of the Louisville Water Company truck. And just in, LMPD did confirm and shared the mugshot of that person there trying to jump on the truck. They were detained, one of 4 detained actually, and thankfully no one was hurt, but a group of people did block off the street. Again, that's West Broadway in front of the courthouse here in downtown Louisville. And we also saw Breonna Taylor's aunt, that's Bianca Austin. We also just confirmed she was detained by LMPD there on the street on Broadway with a megaphone. Now, eventually police were able to clear the street, and you'll see here in this picture Bianca being detained by law enforcement. Now, she's one out of several, again, out of 4 who were arrested outside the courthouse today. But back to here, it is still, like I said, it's very peaceful from what I'm seeing so far. There's just that sharp tension. We're all waiting to hear what this sentencing is going to be. We're all very heated because it is very hot out here. Thankfully, we're getting more cloud coverage, but we are all enduring this heat, waiting to hear what happens.
Oh, so they didn't even know at that time. I did that story because they went into her aunt being arrested. This is the update. He got 33 months.
News now, because in just the last couple of minutes, we're learning a former Louisville police officer will receive 33 months in prison after his conviction.
DOJ asked for 1 day. He got 33 months.
I want to show you that courthouse in Louisville. You see people gathering here as this has just come in. Here's why this matters. We're talking about Brett Hankison, that former police officer. It was recommended by the Department of Justice that he face 1 day behind bars. Could have been life, was 1 day. Now we have the sentencing from the judge, obviously far more than what the Justice Department had recommended. Let me bring in Shaquille Brewster, who's joining us now. And just to give the
Yeah, everyone was expecting him to get time served.
He was found guilty last year.
So fuck yeah.
Breonna Taylor's civil rights during that 2020 raid on a no-knock warrant that is now illegal in her home state here. He didn't fire the shot that killed Taylor, but did shoot his gun into the wall, into her home, etc. Now we have this number, 33 months. Any indication as to how the judge came up with this figure? It is obviously very different from what the Justice Department had recommended, that very controversial 1 day.
That's right, Hallie. And, you know, that headline literally just coming out in the past couple of seconds from the AP on their wire. So we're checking to see if there's any more information. I don't know if you just saw in that shot outside the courtroom, you saw some of the reporters running out. So we'll get a little bit more information in the next couple of moments here. But yes, the key thing is that this is more than what the Department of Justice asked the judge to sentence this former police officer. Remember, they said, can you just give him that 1 day of time served and then 3 years of supervised release? But Hallie, it is much less than what the family of Breonna Taylor was hoping for. I spoke with them just ahead of this sentencing hearing, and they wanted to see a sentence closer to what the guidelines would suggest. And
like life.
Sentencing guidelines get very complicated, but even in that sentencing memo from the Department of Justice, they said that essentially the probationary office said that he should be facing somewhere between 11 to 14 years in prison. Of course, he's not facing that now. We have that 33 months that the judge has sentenced him to at this point. But just going back to what we heard ahead of this, you know, when that sentencing memo came out, there was a lot of outrage. You had the mayor of Louisville saying that he wanted Hankinson to...
And once again, I think cops should face double what a normal citizen would face. If he should be facing 11 to 14, it should actually be 22 to 28. Because I think cops should be held to a higher standard than your normal citizens. That's just me. I don't know why we let them off so easy.
Face a serious sentence. The governor suggested that politics was involved in the Justice Department asking for that lower sentence. And part of the reasoning in that is that this is a departure. This is the Justice Department and federal government spending years to prosecute this former officer. This is the second trial that he faced. This first one ended up in a mistrial. This one ultimately, he was convicted on one of the 2 counts that he was facing. And many people noting that the prosecution team, when they filed this memo suggesting that lower sentence, the team that prosecuted him in this case, they did not sign this memo. Instead, it was political leadership that ultimately signed this memo. So a lot more to figure out, I really am curious to know how much of that conversation, how much of that 4.5 hours or so of the sentencing hearing was about the judge asking them about this decision. But ultimately, she coming down and sentencing Hankinson to the 33 months in prison, Hallie.
Let me pull back.
33 months is better than 1 day, at least. I'll take it. It's something. Because unfortunately, we have to divert our attention to yet another miscarriage of justice. Young man in Florida brutally beaten by the cops. Jacksonville Sheriff's Office investigating.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle! Show me your hand. Here.
Tonight at 11, a traffic stop ends with a Jacksonville Sheriff's officer smashing the driver's window, punching him, and throwing him on the ground. This video going viral on social media tonight with nearly 900,000 views on Instagram and counting. I personally spoke with the man behind the wheel who says the incident left him with multiple injuries.
I bet.
Yeah, I was taken to jail. I suffered a chipped tooth, a split lip. My tooth went through my lip after they slammed me on the ground, and it chipped on the concrete. And I had to get 9 stitches, 5 on the outside, 4 on the inside. And then I also had a concussion and suffer from short-term memory loss now.
The altercation happened back in February, but the driver, William McNeil Jr., says he did not feel safe to share the story until now.
McNeil tells us that he didn't only walk away with physical injuries, but also PTSD.
So the cops who, had body cams and would have had to report this incident to their supervisors, the cops were not under investigation until this moment when the video came out. Weird. Yet another reason why all cops are bastards. Because if their supervisors were to review this, clearly they violated someone's rights and violated department policy. Or did they violate department policy?
And he says that's why it took him 9 months to come forward.
Taking another close look at this video, officers break McNeil Jr.'s window, punch him in the face, and ask to see his hands. It ends with 3 officers pulling him to the ground. News for Jax reporter Chris Will joins us live from the Sheriff's Office headquarters tonight.
Chris, the man in the post has hired civil rights attorneys Harry Daniels and Ben Crump.
Go get him some money.
Shared with our newsroom, Crump said McNeil was not a threat to anyone, and Daniels added that he is absolutely disgusted. It's a video that, as we mentioned, closing in on 1 million views today on Instagram, shared across all platforms. And it brings us to the middle of what William McNeil Jr. says was a traffic stop for not having his headlights on, claiming that it was not raining. The person on the passenger side that he's talking to, though, responds saying that that does not matter. And after some back and forth, you can see how things unfolded.
Can you call your supervisor? All right, go for it. Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
For not having his headlights on.
Officers then opened
during the day,
driver door, unfastening his seatbelt, and pulled McNeil out of the car. Several more officers.
In some locations, you're supposed to have it on when it's raining. It does look overcast, but seriously, these cops just wanted to big dick him.
You can see how things unfolded.
And once again, the taxpayers are going to pay this man the millions he deserves. He deserves to have millions of dollars. The taxpayers are going to pay it, not these cops. They're going to not be punished. They're going to be sent to a different police organization down the road. Going to be the next county over, 2 counties over. They're going to get their jobs back in a couple of years. It's going to be insane.
Can you call your supervisor?
And we just keep letting this shit happen.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands. Here.
I'm sorry. Lock that pig up for deadly assault. Absolutely. I have seen people get charged with deadly assault for less punches. Lock him up for deadly assault. Give him twice, double what any normal citizen would face, and you'll stop having pigs doing shit like this. That's all it takes.
Then opening the driver door, unfastening his seatbelt, and pull McNeil out of the car. Several more officers come over. One can be seen striking McNeil again in the face before they wrestle him to the ground, out of view of camera, with commands of stop fighting and stop resisting. News4Jax spoke with McNeil on the phone.
As he's not resisting.
To get to the point where he felt he could share that video online.
It took me a minute to mentally be able to even post the video, because I knew I would have to see it multiple times. And yeah, looking at the video used to bother with my mind a lot, and I would get flashbacks and stuff like that, PTSD stuff, and I just didn't like that. But now I'm good, and
you need to fight this.
I need to fight this.
Absolutely. And get you some money.
TK Waters putting out a statement on social media today saying, "We are aware of a video circulating on social media showing a traffic stop represented to be from February 19th, 2025. We have launched an internal investigation into it and the circumstances surrounding this incident. We hold our officers to the highest standards.
No, you don't.
Are committed to thoroughly determining what exactly what occurred." And News4Jax just got the arrest report in this case. We continue to work through the details in that report, but in it, the officer says he saw McNeil at a stop sign without his head and tail lights on, but also says he did not have his seatbelt on during inclement weather. And according to court records, both of those charges were dismissed. He was adjudicated guilty for resisting arrest without violence and driving on a suspended license. This is a
no way.
Continue to follow here at News4Jax, both on air and online. But for now,
he was adjudicated guilty.
The local station.
How did that happen? That don't sound right. We had the shooting of an off-duty Customs and Border Patrol agent that we covered last night. Dude got shot in the face. Didn't seem to have anything to do with the fact that he was CPB. Looked like it was just random shooting from the video that we saw. The second suspect has been arrested tonight.
But first, federal officials strongly criticizing New York's sanctuary laws. This after the shooting this weekend of an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer. The two men arrested, undocumented immigrants who have been arrested for violent crimes before. And good evening, everyone. At 6 o'clock, I'm Bill Ritter. Liz is off tonight. The off-duty federal agent shot in the face late Saturday night. This was in the Fort Washington park, I should say, in northern Manhattan. Now, shot during an apparent attempted robbery. The agent survived and managed to actually fire his own gun at the two attackers. One of them was shot. Two men now facing federal charges in this shooting, and the Trump administration asking why the shooters, who have a history of violent crimes, were not turned over to federal ICE agents. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem talking directly and taking directly aim at New York Mayor Eric Adams. That's happening tonight. Eyewitness News reporter live at Harlem tonight.
Oh, it's getting all kinds of coverage because this was an undocumented person. There was an attack tones on ICE, and there was like a manhunt for the dude for like 2 weeks, but they caught him. It was a coordinated attack, and they were like a leftist Antifa kind of group. I don't want to an Antifa kind of group. They were definitely like a black bloc protester deal, and they seemed really cool. But they've all been arrested now. They've been charged with attempted murder, and it kind of sucks.
Harlem Hospital as well with our lead story. NJ.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. The Trump administration, as you said, is blaming Mayor Adams and New York's sanctuary city laws. Mayor Adams, for his part, is blaming bail reform. What is clear is that both young men, as you said, have lengthy criminal histories, lengthy arrest records, and documentation, deportation orders that were issued months, even years ago, Bill. Immigration enforcement on the streets of New York.
Yeah, Flash, that was kind of... But I don't think they got the ambush out.
Borders are Tom Homan.
We're going to flood the zone.
We don't know the whole details.
In the jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe.
I'm sorry. Kristi Noem looking exquisite. Can be my GOP mommy. You gonna tell me that's a 5 out of 10 ass? He's smoking crack.
For the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on a street arrest.
The crackdown sparked by Saturday night's shooting. Two men on a moped roll up on a couple on the shores of the Hudson. One man approaches them with a gun. The victim, an off-duty customs officer, draws his gun and the suspect opens fire. In the shootout, both men are wounded. The gunman and his accomplice take off into the night. One drops the other at a Bronx hospital, and both are later arrested. They are undocumented migrants from the Dominican Republic. The suspected gunman, Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez, was ordered deported in November of 2024, but has a series of prior arrests, including a warrant for armed robbery in Massachusetts. The alleged accomplice, Christian Ibar Baroa, was ordered deported in January of 2023. He too has prior arrests, but was released in June after a guilty plea.
How many more people have to be hurt and victimized before we have public safety be a #1 priority in some of our largest cities? When I look at what Mayor Adams has done to New York City, it breaks my heart to see the families that have suffered because of his policies.
New York sanctuary city laws forbid city agencies from cooperating with immigration agents in all but criminal cases. The NYPD is forbidden from notifying ICE if a suspect in custody is undocumented. Today, Mayor Adams said
you would think he's their guy,
but questioned why the men were not in jail despite multiple prior arrests.
I am extremely angry that we have a Customs Border Patrol officer that is in the hospital because.
And what is that hat?
Not been on our street, was on our street.
Is that a baseball player, 42?
Supports limited cooperation with ICE, but opposes deportations of otherwise law-abiding migrants. As Bill said a moment ago, both suspects will face federal charges. As for the officer, he continues to recover here tonight. Live tonight in Harlem, NJ Burkett, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So you would think that me being a fan of classic television, I would have been more tore up about today. But I had no idea who Sparkles was talking about when she told me that Malcolm Jamal Warner died. And I'm like, And she's like, Cosby Kid. And I'm like, the one that was Tiger Woods and Sunny in Philadelphia? She's like, no, that's the other one. But apparently he passed away. I didn't watch The Cosby Show. I think my parents were racist, so that's probably why.
The actor Malcolm Jamal Warner, widely known for starring in the hit TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has died. Police in Costa Rica tell ABC News Warner drowned near a beach along the country's east coast. He was just 54 years old. The Emmy nominee won the hearts of Americans, starring as teenage son Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show from 1984 through 1992. Warner recently starred in the Fox medical drama The Resident. He was also a producer, director, poet, and musician. He was married with a daughter but chose not to publicly disclose their names. ABC News' Matt Rivers is tracking the latest from Mexico City along with ABC News contributor Roxy Diaz and her Los Angeles bureau. So, Matt, let's start with you. What more do we know about Warner's death? This was a drowning. Anything else?
Yeah, not a ton of detail coming out. Everything that we're getting at this point as we continue to investigate this story is coming from the Costa Rican National Police. They're confirming to ABC News that Warner's body was found on Sunday afternoon. They were able to positively identify him. They said he had been on a family vacation on the country's east coast, roughly 3 hours driving or so from the capital of San Jose in an area, a beach called Cocles Beach, which is near Limon. So that's on the east coast, on the Atlantic side of this country. It is a popular tourist area. Certainly lots of people going in the water there all the time, but what we're hearing from authorities is that there was a high current in the area that day, and they believe that is ultimately what led to his death. Again, his body being discovered Sunday afternoon.
And Roxy, he was absolutely beloved, adored by so many Americans, coming as a shock to all of us, and especially to the entertainment world. How are other celebrities and how's the industry in general reacting to this?
I mean, as you can imagine, we all feel like we lost a family member. Malcolm Jamal Warner was loved by, I wouldn't even say just Americans, by the world. The Cosby Show having a huge impact on raising many of us. His castmate on the show, the resident Morris Chestnut, wrote out saying, heartbroken to hear the passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner. Working alongside him on The Resident was an honor. He brought so much depth, warmth, and wisdom to every scene and every conversation. Tracy Ellis Ross also speaking out, saying, I love you, Malcolm. First and foremost, you first met you as Theo, just like the rest of the world, and he was her first TV husband. My heart is so sad for this news. What an actor and a friend. You were warm, gentle, present. Magic Johnson also speaking out that he and his wife Cookie are sad to hear about the passing of their dear friend Malcolm Jamal Warner. Just super fans of the hit show Cosby's as well as The Resident, and every time they ran into each other, Malcolm would have fun and deep conversations about basketball, life, business. He will truly be missed. And Beyonce also speaking out, as many others are, just remembering the impact of what he meant to so many of us in our households.
Yeah, talk about that impact. I mean,
We'll watch some Cosby Show tomorrow night.
People felt like they knew Theo Huxtable, they knew the family, they were part of the family, part of their families. I mean, a huge impact on American culture, but to your point, also to the whole world. Can you just talk about the legacy?
Yeah, Flash, you don't have to recommend a movie like Sinners. I'll watch it.
Did for so many black and brown families out there was to give us something to look to aspire to. It was a representation of.
Didn't I mention Get Out to You and you hadn't seen it? Come the fuck on.
Of our brothers, just like I said, we grew up watching him. We felt like we were all part of that family. And a matter of fact, he knew the responsibility that came with that role, and he spoke to our very own ABC News contributor Kelly Carter about that in a significant interview. Take a look at this.
One of the biggest criticisms about the Cosby Show from white people and black people was that black people don't live like that. So while we're getting that criticism, I'm getting fan letters by the thousands from people saying, thank you for this show. My dad is a doctor. My mom is a lawyer. We are the Huxtables, right? You know, white America, black America. We're expanding the perspective of who we are as black people.
He truly, truly, truly will be missed. Back to you, Selena.
Not just an actor. Matt and I were talking earlier. I mean, he was a director, poet, musician, multi-talented. Thank you so much.
So we'll watch some Cosby Show tomorrow night in honor of Malcolm Jamal Warner, who I've heard is probably the best thing about the show. Did they really delete the kitty video I was going to show? How dare they? Get you a bird instead. JustinFREAKIN gonna flip you the bird. Hello, Carla. Dougie, did I tell you good evening? Tones, my friend. We all like tits. Is beautiful. And he's not fully grown, is he? Is he like a little chick? That's what I'm thinking, like a teenage bird, right? He ain't itty bitty. I bet he's soft too. His live music Monday tonight is Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds from Paris 2025. You're gonna hear songs off the new album from the new tour. It's gonna be fucking awesome. But of course, that's only on Twitch. So goodbye to you podcast people. Kick, Rumble. I'll turn on the D Live. I'll turn on D Live. We'll welcome D Live people back in for Live Music Monday. Bye, YouTube people. Light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.